Hey up everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing my tips of round 13 of the 2024 NRL season. Last week out it weren't good for myself personally. I only got 4 out of 8 tips correct. However, there were a few upsets. I think the only people that would have got a perfect round is if they deliberately tipped the upsets. But let's see how we go in a shortened round in round 13. And the first match to kick off round 13 is on Thursday night. It's between Parramatta and Cronulla Sutherland. This match is being played at the Western Sydney Stadium. Parramatta are in 15th at the moment and Cronulla in 1st. Cronulla have won their last 7 of 10 matches against Parramatta, and some of the stats for Parramatta are damning in regards to the fact that Mitchell Moses and Gutherson might not play in this game. So without Moses, Parramatta have only won once out of the last 8 matches, and without Gutherson they've lost all 13 of their matches. Both of these sides conceded 42 points last week. Cronulla conceded 42 against Penrith and were held scoreless at Shark Park. Meanwhile, Parramatta conceded 42 points against the South Sydney team, missing 7 or 8 of their players. You had Latrell Mitchell in the sin bin, you had Damien Cook playing on the wing, centre, 5'8". You had a whole host of other things go wrong for them. Jack Whiten didn't play the second half, and yet they still put 42 points on Parramatta. And currently, Parramatta are a club in crisis. I did a video on that recently, went in depth with that. But with the way things are at the moment, if Parramatta do not win this game with the byes with Gold Coast, West and South, Parramatta will be second last at the end of this week. With the first match of the State of Origin series in 2024 looming, Cronulla will be without Nicholas Hines and Cameron McInnes. And for Parramatta, I believe that Jermaine Hopgood will be picked for Queensland from what I've read. And to be fair, let's face it, he's the only player out of the Parramatta squad that has deserved Origin selection for either New South Wales or Queensland, because he's been brilliant for Parramatta in a beaten side. For this game, I'm going to tip Cronulla to win this match by 1 to 12 points, potentially 13 plus. There has been talk of Mitchell Moses and Gutherson returning. However, I think that still might be 1 week away for the both of them. And just with Parramatta, their defence is not very good at the moment. And with Cronulla, the attacking options that they've got, even without Hines and McInnes in the team, I still think that they're a dangerous side. And I will go for Cronulla to win by 1 to 12 points, potentially 13 plus on the Thursday. And the only match on the Friday is between Newcastle and Canterbury Bankstown. This match is being played at Marathon Stadium in Newcastle. Newcastle in 7th at the moment, Canterbury Bankstown in 10th. Newcastle have won 6 of the last 10 matches against Canterbury in the league, and Newcastle have won 4 matches in a row coming into this game. Last time these two sides met were just a couple of rounds ago, where Canterbury defeated Newcastle 36 points to 12 at Stadium Australia. This match is a really hard game to call because Newcastle come into this match off the bye, so they'll be fresh and ready to go. Canterbury had a big win over St George. However, it were a tricky game because they were behind to start off the match, and after Jack Bird got injured, Zach Lomax went off sin bin. It just seemed to change the tide of the game, and Canterbury scored tries at will. Some of the defence were laughable. I saw the highlights, and some of the tackling and the defence from St George were really bad. So Canterbury put a score on them in the end, but I guess from what a lot of their fans said, you can only play what's in front of you, and that's what they did. I've been thinking a lot about who will win this game, and I think the fact that Matt Burton's not there is a bit of a blow for Canterbury because he's very important to the team. Initially, we're going to go for Canterbury to win this match, but the more that I think about it, I'm going to tip the home side to win. I'm going to tip Newcastle to win. It'll be a 1 to 12 score line, but I'll go for Newcastle to win. I were initially going to go for Canterbury, but I've changed my mind on that one. And the first match on Super Saturday is between Penrith and St George. This one's being played at Penrith Stadium. Penrith in 2nd at the moment, St George in 12th. Penrith have won their last 6 matches against St George in the league. The last time that Penrith were defeated by St George in the NRL was in round 25 of the 2017 NRL season. I also noticed that St George defeated Penrith at the Nines competition, which was in Perth a couple of years ago. I remember that were a controversial result in favour of St George, but that's the last time that they've beaten them in any capacity. Now with Penrith and the state of origin, they've got 5 players out from the New South Wales side of things. I haven't seen if anyone's been picked for Queensland that plays for Penrith. As for St George, their 2 best players have been picked for state of origin. Zach Lomax has been picked, and I believe Ben Hunt 100% will be picked for Queensland. I'll be surprised if he's not playing in this match. St George were embarrassed last week against Canterbury, as I just mentioned earlier, and with Penrith they had a very dominant display against Cronulla, 42-0. For this match, even though Penrith have a few players out, they're a club where it's a one-man up mentality, where a player's out and they come in and they just do the job. As for St George, it's a case of no Ben Hunt, no party, because he's head and shoulders their best player. He has been for quite a few years now, and they're totally different without him. So I will go for Penrith to win this game by 1-12, potentially 13+. I know Shane Flanagan has put a lot of the St George players on notice, and they'll be fired up for this game, wanting to make amends for last week, but I just think that Penrith will be too classy in the end. The second match on Super Saturday is between Redcliffe and Canberra. This one's being played at the KO Stadium in Redcliffe. Redcliffe in 4th at the moment and Canberra in 8th. These two sides have played each other twice before with 1 win apiece. With state of origin, Hudson Young was named for the New South Wales team, so he won't be there. With Redcliffe, I imagine a couple of their players will be picked for Queensland, especially Hamiso Soup. Last time out, Redcliffe had a narrow loss against New Zealand. They were in front and they kind of bottled it in the end, which would have been disappointing if you're a Redcliffe supporter. As for Canberra, once again, I've said in the past, yes, they have recorded victories this year, but whenever they come up against a very classy opponent, they get humbled pretty badly, and they were humbled against Eastern Suburbs last week. For this match, despite the amount of players that might be picked for state of origin, especially Hamiso Soup, I will go for Redcliffe to win this game. They've demonstrated this year that even if they've got injuries, players out, that they step up. Trey Fuller will be in this game if Hamiso Soup is picked for Queensland, which I imagine he would be, and he's been an adequate replacement at fullback. So I will go for Redcliffe to win this match by 1-12 points on Super Saturday. And the final match to close out the round is on Sunday. It's between Sydney Roosters and North Queensland. This one's being played at the Sydney Football Stadium. East in 5th at the moment, North Queensland in 11th. In the last 10 matches, Sydney Roosters have won 7 of those. With the state of origin, there's been 2 players picked for East that will be in the starting lineup, Suoliti and Crichton, and Kiri's been named in the extended squad, so he might be sent back to East ahead of this game. As for North Queensland, the Queensland side hasn't been announced yet, but I imagine the likes of Holmes, Dearden, Nanai, Tuolungi will all be picked for Queensland, so they'll have a few players out for this match. As for East, I think the likes of Tedesco and Tupou and a couple of other players that have been on the New South Wales side, they'll want to make a statement in this game to show that, look, I've still got the goods, pick me, I can still play for New South Wales. And for this game, I'm going to go for East to win. I think it's going to be an injury-ravaged, or selection-ravaged, as I should say, game ahead of Sunday. For this match, I'll go for East to win by 1-12 points, potentially 13+. It's based off mainly from what I saw last week with Eastern Suburbs. They've got a lot of attacking options, they can score points at will. And with North Queensland, the defence hasn't been that great. Once again, they conceded 28 points against West Tigers and Townsville. So I will go for East to win by 1-12 points, potentially 13+. So those are my tips for round 13 of the 2024 NRL season. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you liked the tips. Let me know who you're tipping, I'd be interested to know. just place your comments in the section below. Thanks to everyone that watched the video last week. Once again, it was one of the most watched tipping videos on YouTube. I'm overwhelmed by the support, comments and likes. So anyways, this has been Rugby League history, and I'll catch us all later in the next video. Alright, ta-ra for now.